Hello friends and greetings for the day. Welcome back to another tutorial on ISTQB Advanced Level Test Analyst Certification. We are in chapter 1 talking about the task of the test analyst in the test process and continuing ahead with 1.3, that is task related to work products, and today we shall be covering the next subsegment, that is 1.3.6, developing test scripts using keyword driven testing. However, here you'll just be understanding more about what keyword-driven testing is and mainly the role of the test analyst, but a practical exposure of that is not certainly required because here it is going to be theoretical and all you need to understand is what happens in this particular type of testing. Well, to just give a simple context about the keyword-driven testing, of course, the keyword-driven testing is more about a framework. It's a type of an automation testing which basically lets you create a framework in such a way that you can control executions using a keyword. Now, however, these keywords are the business keywords, which basically represents one of the use case of the user. Say, for example, booking a flight, canceling a flight, modifying a flight, or doing a web check-in could be one of these keywords. And of course, a test automation engineer which look forward to create an automation script to automate this business keyword, right? So business keywords and the data are prepared by the test analyst as per their role and responsibility, and the test automation engineer, who can be a test analyst himself or herself, would be responsible to turn this into an automation script. Of course, this one word would be written into multiple lines to make sure that it is executable and able to capture every single information what it needs to be done while doing the execution. So on a high level, this is what the keyword testing looks all about. But of course, in detail, the syllabus would like to talk more about it. So we would like to understand how exactly this critical framework is being built and what's the responsibility of the test analyst. Of course, when it comes to the test analyst here, if the keyword-driven testing is used, the test analyst creates the test script using keywords, and the implementation of the script is task of technical test analyst or test automation engineer or a developer. So again, just keeping a context out of it, that is not necessary that test analyst is only the person who will be responsible to write automation. Sometimes a test analyst can be a manual tester also, and they can have a dedicated team to perform the required automation. Also to add here, of course, the test analyst is responsible for identifying and specifying the keywords by analyzing the test basis or by collaborating with various stakeholders. Also, keyword can be classified into two categories, that is action and verification, where action is certainly the keywords where we define what exactly user must do with the test object, executing functions, submitting data, or navigating within the test object, etc. The other component is, of course, the test environment, where we set up the required configuration or any other components or systems which could be a part of that. That is like triggering on interface, like APIs, that could all be a part of our action keywords. Whereas verification keywords basically represent the assertions, which is the checkpoints to verify the values while runtime or during the runtime to evaluate whether the actual results produced by the test object matches the expected result. However, also to add here, the keywords reside on at least two abstraction layers, the domain layer and the test interface layer. Where domain layer, I can say that the keywords correspond to the business related actions and reflect the terminology of the application domain. And here they abstract from the technical details of the test object's interface. However, on the other side, the test interface layer, keywords communicate with the test object and test environment items or other components of the system via their test interface. They reside on the lowest abstraction layer. Additional intermediate layers may also support the maintainability of the keyword. So in simple words, the domain layer part is more about the business related actions, that is reflecting the required terminology of the application domain, or more about the higher level interfaces, for example, navigating to a page or clicking on a particular menu option or navigating to the parent option, whereas the test interface would be more about the key test objects. For example, you can talk about the text field, the buttons, the radio buttons, etc. inside the page. So you can say that a page could be domain and more of like the objects on the page would be test interface. So it's just not that the navigation of the page could be called as domain. You can even talk about the interfaces, databases, and these are different domains altogether. So if you're interacting with APIs before you can run the test, or you are calling on a database, all that would go into domain, whereas the test interface would be the key activities what a user performs. Also, to talk about here, the next part to continue on this is to discuss about what the keywords can have all about, right? What's the task of the keyword driven testing when it comes to the test analyst? So keywords can be atomic or composed out of other keywords as well. A keyword structure and the abstraction layer are independent of attributes. However, composite keywords often reside on a higher level of abstraction, while atomic keywords tend to reside on the test interface layer. The task of the test analyst in keyword-driven testing includes specifying the keyword and their parameters, specifying the keyword test cases like what test scripts using keywords you need, specifying the additional steps to the test script using keywords such as precondition, verification action, and cleaning up the test environment after the test, maintaining the keyword test cases to reflect changes to the test object, executing keyword test scripts, either automated or manually, or finally analyzing the failed keyword test cases to determine the cause of the failure. So in this entire discussion, you can understand that what are the key responsibilities of the test analyst is all about when it comes to the keyword driven testing. But if you see the very first line here, it's more talking about what is the two different structure, right? Keyword structure can be composite, like you can have combination of things. So let me give you a quick example of that. For example, if you talk about flights as an option, as a feature on a particular application, then I may have multiple options. Or let me simplify it further. If you're talking about an automated teller machine, you have withdrawing money. Now, withdrawing money could be a composite keyword because it could be withdrawn from multiple options. For example, you can do a debit card transaction, you can do a credit card transaction, you can even do cardless transaction. So there are three options to withdraw money from ATM, that is automated teller machine. So withdrawing could be a parent keyword, which is a composite keyword. And inside this, you can have sub keywords like withdrawing with debit card, with credit card, or with no card at all. That is cardless transaction using your cell phone and other biometric authentication. So in that context, there are a lot of activities what the test analyst can do here. If you look at it, again, just basically define the keywords, making sure a high-level output has been given to the test automation engineer to help what exactly would be the steps. It's just not that a single keyword could help the automation engineer to do everything. Then also maintaining the keyword is a responsibility of the test analyst. In case required to execute, there would be someone who will be doing that. And of course, finally, analyzing the failed keyword. So of course, in case of failures, the test analysts do take care of analyzing that where exactly it went wrong. Because the problem can be with keyword, can be with data, can be with the script, or can be with the SUT itself. SUT here means system under test, and it just means that the test analyst, before concluding that every single failure results into a defect, they need to analyze if was it actually a defect or it could be a mistake of the human about keyword data or script. Also, to give you the structure of it, the next part we are discussing about is what exactly a keyword-driven testing consists of. So when it comes to analyzing the test bases, the TA basically takes care of understanding interactions between the test objects and the environment. And here we have a quick, simple example to understand that. Consider the user story as as a member, I want to authenticate myself such that I get access to facilities with the acceptance criteria as valid member card can be used for authentication. And here the test analyst may specify an action keyword like authenticate member with a parameter member card and a verification keyword verify access. Now the TA, that is test analyst, checks whether the identified keyword resides on the appropriate abstraction layer, and when specifying these keywords, the test analyst must keep in mind that keywords must have all these information. So one way, we are just giving you a quick structure of what exactly the keyword should look like and what it must consist of, because designing keywords is not something which is only applicable to a test analyst. Tomorrow down the line, your team should be able to understand it. your other stakeholders should be able to understand it, or in case someone else has to take over your job, or you are being replaced by someone else, then they should also be able to follow that. So there's a common structure which we follow when it comes to defining keywords. Of course, it should contain a verb, that is plus noun. Use the imperative form of verb or maybe a noun. Be unique in their own meaning. That means there should be no duplicacy, no conflicting keywords. By adequately documenting it and reflect the vocabulary of the application domain, that what are the key functions which the users can perform at any point of time. For example, searching a flight, booking a flight, canceling a flight, modifying an existing flight. So word existing would be very crucial when you say modifying, right? And same way, web check-in is a very standard keyword, right? So it's just not that there could be one action which we are performing, there could be multiple things, and this should be very, very clear, right? So of course, we should have a vocabulary, and the reusability is the effort what we are putting in keyword-driven testing is not just a one-time activity. It is very important that the way it is written, it should be reusable, thus taking care of many other protocols of basic automations, that is starting and end of the script, environment readiness. For example, the environment state could be very later, like maybe on the page number 8. Then to restart, you need to go back to page number 1. So at the end of the test, we need to return back to the initial position. So there are a lot of other rules which gets applied as a part of automation too. So we need to make sure that these are also implemented. Well, finally, to conclude here, when composing these keyword test cases, the test analyst may recognize some missing keywords and immediately specify them. So of course, it is possible that they may miss out things. So it is just to remind you that we should review our keywords and look forward to see if there's anything missing. If missing, we just add them. Now, keyword test cases may be written in various formats, such as list or tables. Now, keywords may change over a project's lifetime and are prone to being redundantly specified. The recommendations mentioned in this section aim to avoid redundancy and reduce maintenance effort. Although, we don't look forward to having hard coding simple words, right? We look forward to as dynamic as possible. So wherever required, we do take care of updating them. And as and when required, the scripts can be modified too. Finally, although of course keyword-driven testing is test automation approach, manual testing can also benefit from it. If applied for manual testing, it effectively supports a later transition from manual to automation testing. So in simple word, if you go back to your chapter 1 previous discussions, we have told you that the test cases can be written concrete or logical. Now, if you've written high-level test cases, then certainly doing automation could be complicated. So in case you are planning to do manual today, but down the line you are going to automate it for any XYZ purpose like regression as well, then that is where the manual test cases can also be written in a keyword format so that all the details can be leveraged to automate it easily, right? So that basically gives you an entire understanding of what keyword-driven testing is, and I hope I'm very clear with that. That's all from this particular tutorial, team. Should you have anything else, feel free to comment below. I'm always there to address your queries and answer them well. Till then, keep learning, keep exploring, keep understanding the context. Thanks for watching the video, team, and happy learning.